What's going on, my friends? Chris Peach here of the Muddy Peach Podcast, episode 138. And today we're going to be talking about a cashless society. Now, this is coming into play because you guys have probably seen the post floating around social media right now. It's been on Twitter, Facebook, it's been on Instagram as well, talking about how Dave Ramsey put this post out about what a cashless society really means. Now, I've seen the post. We're going to break it down. But before I go any further, let me just remind you guys, I did some fact checking. Dave Ramsey did not say this. Dave Ramsey claims, he's saying on his Twitter that it's not him. I think he agrees with it, but this is not a Dave Ramsey stance right here. As you can see on his Twitter, he says, not me. He did not say this. So actually, there are some previous versions of this that actually started in the UK using British pounds is the example of a cashless society. But either way, you've probably seen the post going around. And so we're going to break down this post. I'm going to go through the pros and the cons and the truth and the fiction of what a cashless society really means. Now, there's some really good facts in here. There are some things that are absolutely absurd and not true. And but before we go any further, I'm sure you're wondering, what is my stance on a cashless society? And so my first glance when I saw this post is I was on board with the supposedly Dave Ramsey post that I am not for a cashless society at all. However, in order to do due diligence to this, you have to break down pros and cons. Think about this. Anything that we do in life, any decision we make, even if it's going to a restaurant, we're looking at what's the benefit? What's the pro versus the con? What's going to be the best decision, right? That's what we base things on. So we have to do some due diligence here of, is a cashless society good or bad? Now, I will tell you, after going through the facts, I'm still going to lean on the side of a cashless society is not a good idea, but not for the same reasons that this post says. So let's go ahead and break down this post. So I have it up in front of me here. I'm going to read it to you word for word in case you have not seen this post. This is what it says, okay? And again, this is not, Dave Ramsey did not say this. Dave Ramsey got credit for it, but he's saying he did not say this. So this is not a Dave Ramsey post. This is an anonymous post, but this was going around social media. It's trending. Some of it was trending. So a cashless society means no cash, zero. It doesn't mean mostly cashless, and you can still use a wee bit of cash here and there. Cashless means fully digital, fully traceable, fully controlled. I think those who support a cashless society aren't fully aware what they're asking for. Okay, then it goes on. A cashless society means, and there's all these bullet points. So number one, if you are struggling with your mortgage on a particular month, you can't do an odd job to get through. Number two, your child can't go and help the local farmer earn a bit of summer cash. Number three, no more cash slipped into the hands of a child as a good luck charm or from their grandparent when going on holidays. Okay, these are reasons why a cashless society is not good. Number four, no more money in birthday cards. Number five, no more piggy banks for your child to collect pocket money and to learn about the value of earning. Number six, no more cash for a rainy day fund or for that something special you have been putting $20 a week away for. Goes on further, says no more little jobs on the side because your wages barely cover the bills or put food on the table. No more charity collections. No more selling bits and pieces from your home that you no longer want or need for a bit of cash in return. No more cash gifts from relatives or loved ones, okay? So that was a breakdown of here's what a cashless society means. Then the post goes on to say, here's what a cashless society guarantees, okay? Guarantees. So number one, banks have full control over every single penny you own, okay? And we're gonna break all of these down. I'm gonna tell you if I agree with this, if I don't agree with this, and the truth behind it. Number two, every transaction you make is recorded. Number three, all of your movements and actions are traceable. Number four, access to your money can be blocked at the click of a button when and if banks need clarification from you, which will take about 3 weeks, 1,000 questions answered, and 5,000 passwords, okay? It goes on to say you will have no choice but to declare and be taxed on every dollar in your possession. It says here the government will decide what you can and cannot purchase. If your transactions are deemed in any way questionable by those who create questions, your money will be frozen, and they put in quotations, for your own good, okay? So this post goes on. It talks also too about forget about cash being dirty, and it describes a story of a man supposedly who contracted COVID because of a $20 bill he had handled. Again, this is not about COVID. This is not about, I'm not going to go political or anything like that. This is strictly about a cashless society, but we are going to be breaking down the truth about cash being dirty and if you can get COVID on that. We're going to be talking about that. So let's, anything else on this post that I thought was pretty amazing. So as you can see, the post is very against a cashless society. Okay, right? It's that's why people are sharing it. It's gone viral. But really, is everything on this post true? Okay, and we're going to be getting into that. But I wanted to do some research for you guys. I wanted to just kind of show you the history of cash. So believe it or not, we started off as a cashless society. So 8,000 years ago, there was no cash, there were no coins. So 8,000 years ago, this is 6,000 years before Jesus walked the earth. 8,000 years ago, there was a barter system, okay? The Mesopotamians created a barter system where they would trade livestock for land, for, tools, whatever was necessary, but it was a bartering system, which I think we all understand that. We still kind of do a little bit of that today. We might do some trading, but that was how the cashless society started, okay? That went on for 4,500 years. So for over 4,000 years, there was no cash. So we were a cashless society before. Okay, moving forward about 3,500 years ago, again, this is still well before Jesus walked the earth. This is when we started coming up with the idea that bronze, copper, silver, gold, those were valuable. Okay, those could be traded for something else. So it wasn't like I was trading a cow for a sheep or something like that. It was, I was trading this valuable metal for something like so there was. And they turned this into coins, okay? This was during the Bronze Age, okay? So coins were around for about 2,500 years, okay? So 2,500 years after we started using coins, so about now we're moving to about 1,000 years ago. Guess who invented paper money? I think this is so funny because we're going to be moving forward here in a minute and kind of show you how things have flipped. The Chinese. So the Chinese were the first to invent paper money. Okay, this was 1,000 years ago. All right. So then soon after that, Marco Polo, he was in China and he brought the idea, he introduced paper money all over Europe, okay? And that happened in the 13th century, okay? So we had paper money in the 13th century in Europe and in China and Asia. And then in the 17th century, we came up with the checking system where basically instead of having to go around and carry all of your valuables with you, your cash or your coins, you could leave those at home or in a bank and you could use a checking system, okay? We fast forward, move forward, checkbooks in the 18th century. So we have checkbooks then where you can actually write a check. And lastly, in the 19th century, 1872, we had our first Western Union wire transfer, okay? So that was kind of we went into cash. So started off with a cashless society. 3,500 years ago, we went into cash. Okay, now we're kind of fast forwarding. We have a mixture of both. So this is kind of crazy. It seems like it was much longer ago than that. But the first online financial transaction was actually done by a credit union in 1994. I thought that was interesting. Fast forward 6 years, PayPal comes out, which we're all very familiar with, right? An electronic cashless system. 2007, mobile payments, which that's crazy to me. I didn't know it had been around that long, but 2007 was mobile payments. 2009 was cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin. And then in 2014, we started seeing the contactless cards. We got Google Wallet, we got Apple Pay. So as you can see, we started off cashless, okay? Then we moved into cash, and now we're kind of doing a mixture of both. And now there is this fear, which is, I think it's a realistic fear. We're starting to see banks are no longer issuing coins to customers, but if you're a business customer, you can get a limited amount of coins. And the banks are saying it's due to the Federal Reserve not printing money because of COVID. Now, I don't know what the truth is. That could be true, that could not be true. But there's a fear out there that are we being shoved into a cashless society, okay? So that's the fear, and that's why that post, I think, has gone so incredibly viral, was based on that right there. So let's go down and break down all of these, because I think it's gonna be fun here. So if you remember, I just read the entire post to you guys. So the number one thing it said here is if you're struggling with your mortgage. So remember it said here, here's what a cashless society means, okay? Here's what it means. And it said, if you're struggling with your mortgage on a particular month, you can't do an odd job to get you through, or your child can't go and help the local farmer earn a bit of summer cash. Come on. Is this true? Is this really true? If there's no cash and you are behind on your mortgage, there's no possible way for you to earn extra money to pay the mortgage. How many of us are paying the mortgage in cash in the first place? I would say about no one, right? So if about nobody listening or watching this right now is using cash to pay the mortgage, that means the money's in our banking system. So couldn't we go work somewhere and maybe somebody, I don't know, sends us a PayPal or a Venmo or something? I mean, is this possible? Because right now the post is saying it's not possible, right? This is what it means. A cashless society means you can't go out and earn extra money. So if this is the argument against a cashless society, this is not a good argument. Again, I am not for a cashless society, but let's pick the right argument here. We can't agree to this. We know it's not true, right? Again, your child can't go and help the local farmer earn a bit of summer cash. Well, maybe the farmer doesn't have PayPal. Okay, but here in Phoenix, there's not a lot of farms for my kids to go around and work at. But they could go and, I don't know, mow someone's lawn, and maybe that person has PayPal, or maybe they have Venmo, or maybe they have Zelle, and maybe they can, send me. Is there ways around it? Yes. Is it as convenient as just giving cash to a child? Of course not. So, but we can't say a cashless society means that a kid can't go out and earn money. That's insane, right? I mean, we're smart human beings. We can work around it. So it's not a guarantee that a cashless society means a kid can't go out and earn cash, or you can't, do an odd job. You can do an odd job, right? There's things you can do to earn money, and you could get money without getting cash. So I'm going to have to say that's false. That's not a good argument, especially on that post. That's what you're going to lead with. That's not a great argument. There are some good arguments. So again, if I'm making you angry, I'm sorry. I promise here in a minute, I'm going to get to some good arguments that are true. And some of them are a little scary, okay? The next thing it said is no more cash slipped into the hands of a child is a good luck charm from their grandparents when going on holidays, okay? This just shows that it was probably a British written post, because here in the United States, we don't say going on holiday. That means going on vacation for us. So it just shows that this probably was not a Dave Ramsey post. But anyway, is this true? Yes, it is true, because it says here, no more cash slipped into the hands of a child. So yeah, if you can't slip cash, if there's a cashless society and you can't put cash in the hands of a child, technically that's true. So I can't argue that, okay? No more money in birthday cards. Technically true, but come on. My son just turned 10 a couple weeks ago. We had his birthday party, and he had a lot of birthday cards with cash, which was great. But he also had a lot of birthday cards with an Amazon gift card, or a PayPal card, or a Google Credits Play card. And guess what? He loved both of them. So technically, yeah, you can't put cash in birthday cards, but kids are still going to get stuff. They're going to be okay, right? So again, not a great argument there. Okay, some of these other ones are just not true. No more cash for a rainy day fund. That's something for something special you've been putting $20 a week away for. Okay, so yeah, it means you're not going to be able to take $20 and go stick it in a cookie jar and just think, just every week putting a $20 bill in there. But can't we set up automatic payments or automatic savings to go maybe from a savings account or checking account to a savings account? I teach people this in our program, Smart Money Academy. We actually have them set up a savings account at a different bank, so you're not looking at it, and it automatically transfers. So again, that's technically not a good argument at all, because again, if you're trying to prove an argument against people who are for a cashless society, these are not good points, but we're going to get to the good points, I promise. Okay. No more little jobs on the side because your wages barely cover the bills or put food on the table. This goes back to the thing about not being able to cover the mortgage earlier. You can do little jobs and you could get paid. Again, cash is a lot easier to get paid, but you can get paid without cash. There's ways. We've been doing this since 2000 with PayPal. So for over 20 years, we've been paying people without cash. So the idea that this would just go away is false. No more charity collections or payments. Andrea and I, we donate to multiple charities, and we don't give them cash, any of them. It's all electronic. They're not even here locally. They're all over the country. So the idea that we can't, give to our church or give to charity, false. That's not a good argument. This is a good one. No more selling bits and pieces from your home that you no longer want and need for a bit of cash in return. If anybody here lives in Phoenix, Arizona, you probably know my wife, not from television. You know my wife from being a queen of selling all of our crap on Facebook and eBay. This girl is nonstop selling. And guess what? She never gets paid in cash. So this is also a horrible argument of why a cashless society wouldn't work. I don't agree with a cashless society. I'll say that over and over again, but this is not a good argument. Okay. Let's see. There's anything. So the last one, no more cash gifts from relatives or loved ones. That would be true because it says cash gifts, right? So yeah, that is true. if you go to a cashless society, you cannot give cash gifts. You can give electronic gifts, but you can't give cash gifts to relatives or loved ones. Okay. So that was what a cashless society means. And for the most of those, they're terrible arguments. And the post that's going viral on social media opened up with that. And if you're somebody who is for a cashless society, you're reading this post going, well, these people are dumb. They don't get it. All of this can be done. It's all false. Now, here's what a cashless society guarantees. Now, this is where the hair on my neck stands up a little bit, okay? And it should for you as well. So let's break this down, okay? What a cashless society guarantees is banks have full control over every single penny you own. Yeah, that's true, okay? If there is no cash, you can't go to the bank and get your money out because there's no cash. So the only place to keep your money would be at the bank, which means they have full control over every single penny you own. I don't like that. That scares me. Every transaction you make is recorded. Yeah, that is scary. But let me ask you this. Do you do most of your shopping in person, or is it online? When you go to the grocery store, do you pay with cash? Do you pay with credit card? For most of us already, every transaction already is recorded, and that should scare us a little bit, right? Every move we make with our money, for the most part, unless we're using cash, is already being recorded. It's being looked at by somewhere, by something, okay? So that's true. All of your movements and actions are traceable. This is true, right? We've seen this. We watch our crime document shows, right? How do they catch the bad guys? Most of them go and steal a credit card and they use it somewhere, right? So we know that these actions are traceable in real time, okay? But again, this means 100% of every financial transaction you do is now traceable. Not most of it, all of it, okay? This was scary. Access to your money can be blocked at the click of a button. That is true. If a bank controls all of your transactions, if a bank controls all of your ability to spend money or to save money, if they have that control, then would we be naive to think they don't have the control at a click of a button or whatever it might be to push pause on your spending, for your own good? That is true. And that is scary. It's for our protection, or is it? So that's one thing that makes me a little scared here is I know I've been, up in areas where there's no banks, maybe in the mountains somewhere, and I bring cash with me. And so I've kind of already been in a situation where I knew the banking system wasn't going to be there for me, so I had cash. But if I didn't have cash, it would freak me out a little bit. I'll be honest with you. You will have no choice but to declare and be taxed on every dollar in your possession. I'm not going to go deep into this one. This is on you, okay? So technically, we should be, right, morals, we should be declaring we should be taxing our money, right? If you're a W-2 employee, you get taxed on your money. And if most of your income comes in as cash, most of that income comes in as cash, goes out as cash. I'm not going to lie to you and say I've never done this. Maybe I have a few times, maybe I haven't. I'm not going to lie, all right? But really, this is a way for the government to be able to tax every single dollar because there would be no cash. There would be no under the table. It would all be electronically recorded. Here it says the government will decide what you can and cannot purchase. I don't know if they will, but can they? Can they? I mean, just think about this for a second. We live in a world where we have freedom of speech. However, if you say things on social media or anywhere that doesn't maybe align with what somebody else thinks, you can have that comment or that post banned. And I'm not talking about threats. I'm just talking about the way you see the world. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So if we already have something that's called the freedom of speech, but we're not really able to totally freely speak on what we believe, it could be censored, then why would we not believe the government could, not will, but could decide on what you can and cannot purchase? I'll give you an example. There's an argument, and I'm not going to tell you what side I'm on, okay, but there's an argument that guns should not be able to be owned by civilians, okay? Well, if there was no cash, right, the government, could they possibly say, you can't buy that because we're not going to release your money, right, electronically to buy that gun, okay? So again, I'm not for or against that. That's not what I'm saying here, but that's just an example, okay? Another one, if your transactions are deemed in any way questionable by those who create the questions for your money will be frozen for your own good. That is true, right? Now, is that a good thing? When our credit card gets stolen, we could call our credit card and say, my credit card's been stolen, and they freeze our card. We like that, right? We like that. But remember, sometimes giving that power to the bank can benefit us, but at the same time, it can hurt us. All right. Okay. This one right here is the one that's catching. I saved it for the last, and it wasn't the last one on the list, but I saved it for last because this is the one that's catching a lot of steam. In fact, I knew that we were going to be recording this today. So the last couple of days, I've been putting out some feelers on social media about cash versus card and how do you spend, and do you think a cashless society would work? And I just wanted to see the feedback on it. And some of the things that I've been noticing, some of the most common, I wouldn't say the most common, but one of the most common pieces of feedback on these posts that we're seeing is cash is dirty, so we shouldn't use it. And right now it makes sense. We're in a time where COVID-19 is everywhere. So if COVID-19 could live on cash, and I had to do some research according to WebMD, which I don't know how accurate WebMD is, but according to WebMD, yes, COVID could live on a piece of money, on a dollar bill, and you could contract it. That's per WebMD. So I don't know the truth, but that's what they say, okay? So I did a little bit of research on cash is dirty, and this is kind of crazy. So it says here, researchers found that most dollar bills are covered in, get this, 3,000 types of bacteria. Everything from germs that cause acne to microbes from people who lick their fingers when they count out bills. Some countries are printing money on plastic, but the US has yet to take that step. Until we have a cleaner option, wash up after you handle that cash. All right, this is going to gross you out a little bit if that didn't already, okay? But a couple weeks ago, I saw my son. He decided it would be a good idea to put money in his mouth, okay? So I think he took like a quarter and just put it in his mouth. And I saw him do it, and my first reaction was I said, Carter, don't put money in your mouth. That quarter was probably on the floor of a bathroom stall at a truck stop. And I thought to myself, why would I say that? It's because my parents told me that when I was younger. So it's passed on. So we know money's dirty, right? I mean, I think we agree there. Now, 3,000 types of bacteria, that kind of shocked me a little bit. So here's what else is dirty, okay? Kimberly-Clark, they're the ones that have all the hand sanitizer stations and the soap dispensers in bathrooms. And but anyway, they did a study just recently. They went to 6 cities across the US and they swapped hundreds of different things, and they found out what is the dirtiest. So what do you guys think the dirtiest thing is out there? Okay, it's not money. Money is one of them, but it's not. The number one filthiest spot is gas pumps. The pump of the handle of the gas pump. So the crazy thing is if we're going to get rid of cash because it's dirty, then why not get rid of gas pumps? And why not stop there? What about handrails on an escalator or anywhere for that matter? What about elevator buttons? What about your purse? Your purse is one of the dirtiest things there is. Shopping carts. Soap dispensers. Birthday cake is actually, Kimberly-Clark said birthday cake is dirty, which makes sense. You ever seen a kid blow out the candles? That's how you build immunity, people, is your kid blows out that candles and you get whatever he had in his system is now on your cake, okay? But you know what else was one of the dirtiest things out there besides a gas pump, okay? Okay, this kind of defeats the argument for cash being dirty. So think about this. If we're not going to use cash, it's going to be a cashless society. What are we going to use to pay? I'll give you a hint. You have it with you right now. You're probably listening to this or watching this on this thing. It's your phone. Your phone is dirty, just like money. So when people are telling me that you shouldn't use cash, Chris, because it's dirty, I'll agree with you all day long. It's dirty, right? I have no argument there. But the thing we're going to replace it with is also dirty, right? Your phone is how we're expected now to pay with things, right? It's not a great argument. Okay, the dirty thing, I get it, right? It's gross. Money's gross. If you touch it long enough, your hands are black. Money's gross. I'm not discounting that. But the thing that you're sitting with at your kitchen table, or I see it when people go out to eat, it's on the restaurant. It's like taking a gas pump handle and sticking it on the table at a restaurant, or it's in your bed with you when you're watching something on your phone. That thing is dirty, okay? That thing is dirty as well. So is cash dirty? Yes, but so is everything else. And we're not getting rid of those things. So again, not a great argument of why we should go to a cashless system. All right, so now let's break down pros and cons of a cashless society, okay? These are gonna be fun. But first, before we break down a cashless system, the number one thing I get asked all the time is, Chris, what do I do first? Do I start saving money? Do I pay off my debt first? Do I open up a Roth 401k or a 401k? Do I invest more? Do I save for kids' college? I know there's all these things I'm supposed to be doing with money, but what do I do first? Okay. The answer, the first thing you have to do if you want to handle the finances well is you have to be living on a written plan, okay? AKA a budget. My wife and I, we call it a cash flow plan. We have lived on this cash flow plan called the cash flow formula since 2011. This is the exact same plan that we live on. We were able to pay off all of our debt. We tell every dollar what to do before we spend it. We have a plan for every dollar. We're proactive with our money versus being reactive with our money. And guess what the results have been? We've paid up all of our debt. We've stayed debt-free since 2011. We've invested and we've done amazing things with our money because what gets measured gets managed. So if you're not currently living on a written plan and you want something that's easy, that's simple, that is completely free, I want you to go to moneypeach.com/free budget. That's moneypeach.com/free budget. Grab the budget. I will give you some videos on how to use it. You can print it off if you'd like. You can upload it to your phone. You can upload it to your computer. You can use it anywhere your budget goes with you. It's moneypeach.com/free budget. It's the number one reason why Andrea and I were able to pay off $52,000 of debt, stay out of debt, build wealth, and live without any kind of financial stress. moneypeach.com/free budget. Okay, so going now back to the cashless society, pros versus cons of a cashless society. So let's break this down here. We talked about, the pros of a cashless society. This is what, if you Google this is kind of like the overall thing here. So number one is it's lower crime rates, okay? If we go to a cashless society, it's lower crime rates, meaning bad guys won't be able to commit crimes because there will no longer be cash. Think about that. Is that true? Come on. You think bad guys are going to say, hey, Jim, yeah, man, we wanted to go out there and, break some laws today, but gosh, there's no cash. So I guess we're just going to give up the crime business. That doesn't make any sense. Thieves, criminals are brilliant, right? Think about this. 50 years ago, there was no such thing as cybercrime. You know why? Because there was no cyber, okay? So now there is cybercrime. So if we move to a cashless society, don't you think criminals will just figure out how to move into that? I mean, anytime we take something away, the crime doesn't go away. I'm pretty sure drugs are illegal drugs, I should say, bad drugs. But why is it even a high school kid could just walk down the street and find drugs? I thought they were illegal. What happened to the bad guys following the rules, right? So the idea that if we get rid of cash, it'll lower crime rates. I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You know what else is illegal? Shooting people, right? Just for no reason. But guess what happens? Bad guys still do it, right? So the idea that if we get rid of cash, it's going to lower crime rates, I don't agree with that. I just don't see how that's going to work. Bad guys will figure out a way. That's why they're bad, right? And they're brilliant too. Thieves are brilliant, okay? There'll be less money laundering. So yeah, if you've seen the show Ozark, okay, it's a show about money laundering. Yeah, you have to have cash to launder money, right? That's how this works. Again, this is going back to the bad guys. Do you think they're going to go, well, we've been in the business of laundering money for years and years and years. They took away cash, so I guess we're out of business. Or do you think they're going to be resourceful and figure out a way to bypass that? I just don't think that, bad guys are going to just all of a sudden say, hey, I guess we got to be good now because there's no cash. They'll figure out a way. Less expensive for the banks. Okay, so there's all these studies now. It costs banks so much money to store money and this and that. I'll be honest with you. I don't care about that at all. I don't think any of us out there care if it's too expensive for the banks, right? Does anybody really feel bad for the banks? Or is anybody out there thinking, man, gosh, those poor banks, I just feel so bad for them. Yeah, I don't see that being a big winning argument, my friends. I don't see it. Let's see here. Easier currency exchange when traveling internationally. This is true, okay? This is a true statement for a cashless society, all right? Is the majority of people out there traveling internationally, or is it a small percentage? So to have this argument that we should go to a cashless society because it's easier currency exchange when traveling internationally, okay, maybe that's for the 1%, right? But the other 99% of people out there don't care about that. So again, not a good argument. Okay, here are the bad things of a cashless society. Okay, again, this is what I agree with. Okay, your privacy is gone. Your privacy is pretty much gone these days, right? Because we've given it all up to, the Facebooks, the Twitters, and everything else we're doing, right? Everything, we're being followed everywhere we go. So your privacy is gone, but that would continue or increase or even be, at a peak level with a cashless society. Hackers could literally take all of your money. Yeah, if everything is electronic and hackers are really good, and they got into your bank account and your money was gone and you didn't have any cash, literally all of your money would be gone. Technology isn't perfect either, right? One of the bad things of a cashless society is right now, if a banking, and we've seen this. I mean, think about all these giant corporations over the past years that have had problems with data breaches. The technology isn't perfect. We think it is, but it ain't perfect, okay? So with that said, if technology isn't perfect, but technology is in control of all of our money, I don't like that. I don't think that's a good plan. This is a huge one. Did you realize not everyone has a bank account? Only 70% of people right now bank online. So if you don't have a bank account, okay, and only 7 out of 10 people bank online, what about the 30% of people out there, great people that choose not to bank online? What do we do with them? We force them. We force them to do something that they're not comfortable with and say, okay, money touches every aspect of your lives. I know you're not comfortable with this, but this is the way it is. You have to do it this way or else you have no money, all right? Here's one that is not getting enough attention, and it should. And we're gonna spend a few minutes here. Negative interest rates will be passed on to consumers, okay? What does that mean, okay? What does that mean? So kind of a little bit of a money lesson here in a 30-second spiel is when times are good, interest rates increase to keep us in check, okay? The federal government raises the interest rates to keep us in check, okay? Meaning if it costs more money to borrow money, then we're probably not gonna borrow as much money. And the opposite's also true. In a depressed economy or a thing like COVID-19, as you can see, interest rates are going lower and lower, okay? And this causes us to want to spend more, put more money in the economy, borrow more money, right? People are refinancing their homes. But also happens is if the interest rates go down, your savings rate, on the other hand, goes down as well. So one of the banks that I use, CIT Bank, is one of the banks that I love for saving just an emergency fund in. It was 2.4% a year and a half ago. Now it's 0.95%. So as the interest rates go down, and they're going down, so people borrow more money, put more money in the economy, right? It's the way the federal government stimulates the economy, okay? So what happens is as the interest rates go down, are we more likely or less likely to want to put money in the bank to save it there if it's not returning any money? Let me just ask you this. If it goes down to 0%, you're putting money in a savings account at 0%, meaning you're not getting any money to keep your money there. It's just a convenience to park it there, but you're not earning any money. So if you had $10,000 and you really didn't need the $10,000, would you want to keep it in the bank, or would you want to put it somewhere else where it earns something, okay? So that's if it's 0. Now let's think about this. If it's negative, right? If the interest rate goes negative, then it kind of flips things around, right? So instead of you saving money and getting paid by the bank, even a small amount, you're saving money in a bank and it's actually costing you money. And maybe they don't charge you a negative interest rate, but maybe they charge you monthly maintenance fees to keep your money in the bank. So if you have this bank, right, and it's a negative interest rate for the bank, the banks, the federal government lowers the interest rate negative, meaning the banks follow suit. So the banks are now negative. They have to make money. So how are they going to make money? They're going to pass on those expenses to you. So it would look like this. You're saving your money in a bank. Instead of getting paid even 1%, you would be paying fees to store your money there. Kind of like a storage facility. You store your crap in, you're storing your money in a bank, and it's costing you to store your money there. So you and I would think, well, I don't like this plan. I don't want to keep my money in the bank if it's cost money. I'm going to go wait a second. I can't pull my money out because it's a cashless society. Wait a second. That means banks could increase their fees and I would just have to go along with it because I wouldn't have any opportunity to pull the money out because it would be a cashless society. That scares me. That scares me right there. And that's not getting enough attention, okay? That should make the hair on your neck stand up because if the banks control everything, they get to decide, right? Again, banks are saying, we want to go to a cashless society because right now it costs us too much money to do everything with cash. We have to move it around. It just costs us too much money. It's going to cost you even more money when that happens. Okay, that's what's scary. And lastly, one of the biggest cons of a cashless society is staying out of debt. If any of you out there have been in debt, you will know one of the easiest ways to go into debt is a credit card. And why is that? Is because you don't feel money. It's different. Let me ask you this. If you were to go and get gas right now, and you're on your phone, you got kids screaming in the car, you put gas in the pump, you're pumping gas in there, it clicks, you swipe your card and you drive off. You don't even know how much it costs sometimes, right? It doesn't matter. Now let's reverse that and say you parked your car, you went to the cashier and you put $40 down on pump 7. What feels different, right? Of course, as soon as money leaves our hands, there are these things in our brain called pain receptors, and the pain receptors in the brain are activated. Carnegie Mellon did a study on this in the late 90s, talking about how pain receptors in the brain are activated when you use cash. Guess who paid for this study? The banks. Why? Is they wanted to know, how can we lessen the pain of consumers spending money so they spend or borrow more of it, right? So if you're the bank, of course you want there to be a cashless society. Look at what's happened since 1994 with our first electronic banking transaction. Amazon came out with one click. We can Google Pay, we can Apple Pay, we can swipe cards, right? We can spend money so easy, it's insane, right? We don't feel anything. We feel it when we pay the bill at the end of the month or the end of the year or whenever it might be. So what this does is this removes the pain of spending cash. And pain is a good thing. Pain keeps us in check. Remember earlier I said the federal government raises the interest rates when the economy is good to keep people in check? Because it's painful to take a loan out for 7% when it was once 1%, okay? Pain is a good thing. Pain is a great motivator. Pain is a great motivator to keep you out of debt. And if we don't have any cash, my fear, the reality is, you're going to see more people going into debt because it's easier to spend money when you don't feel it. And you don't feel it when you take your phone and you swipe it over the payment processor, okay? So in a nutshell, is a cashless society a good idea? My opinion, it is not. My opinion is a horrible idea, a horrible plan. It's convenient, absolutely. But remember, when you increase your convenience, there's something you're giving up. Think about that, okay? We're going to leave it right there. We're going to end right there. All the show notes, all the links, anything that we talked about in this show, and I'm going to actually add some videos in the show notes to some of the history about cash. We'll go back to China 3 years ago. There was a study on China, how everything's cashless there. South Korea is cashless. We're starting to see the world, the globe kind of moving to a cashless society. It's scary. I'm going to post some videos in the show notes there. I'm also going to be posting anything that I mentioned here. Go to moneypeach.com/session138. moneypeach.com/session138. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed this show. Again, if you love this show, the best way that you can help me spread the word about the Money Peach podcast, tell your friends, tell your family about it, share it. We're found on iTunes. We're found anywhere you listen to your podcast, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, Spotify. We're also posting all of our audio transcripts and our videos all over social media. So follow us there. Thank you guys so much for being here. Stay tuned for next week, same time, same place, with another amazing episode of the Money Peach podcast. Take care.